Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. We're going to have a look today at the 2023 salary grid, or rather the grid if it were based on the F1 drivers' salaries. So lots of course interesting names here, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. So let's get on right into it. So starting off right at the back of the grid, Logan Sargent, newcomer, of course, to Formula One for the 2023 season. He comes in at $1 million per year. So that's how much he earns, which is not exactly a bad day at the office. But nonetheless, when you consider the rest of the field, I mean, it's minimal in comparison. There's quite a few people on $1 million, I think. And we go to the next one, of course, that of Yuki Tsunoda, also on $1 million a year in 19th place on the grid. Yuki Tsunoda now, of course, in his second season of Formula One. Well, I think in third. I've gone blank suddenly. But yeah, of course, still a little bit new to it, but needs to now start to put his foot down and hopefully he can start to earn more as a result. In 18th place, another newcomer, Oscar Piastri of the McLaren, $2 million per year. That's how much he earns for racing in that orange McLaren. Quite a bit less than I think his teammate, that of Lando Norris. And yeah, we move on to 17th place, Guan Yu Zhou in that Alfa Romeo, $2 million per year as well. So also not a bad day at the office for Guan Yu Zhou. And we look at, you know, his teammate Valtteri Bottas, and we'll go show his amount later, but he earns a stupid amount comparatively. So Alfa Romeo there with a $2 million per year for Guan Yu Zhou. In 16th place on the grid, Nick de Vries on $2 million per year, and of course racing for AlphaTauri there. And another newcomer this year, he's the third of the three. So he did race one race last season, so you could have technically included him in last year's grid, but he's on $2 million per year racing in that AlphaTauri, and again, he's quite new to it all, and I'm sure that he will get that increase quite quickly as well. Moving on to 15th in the grid, Hülkenberg, of course, of the Haas. He's come back to Formula One after a few years out, and yeah, he's come back at $2 million per year. That is his salary that he is currently earning for that Haas team, obviously being second driver to Magnussen, who earns a little bit more than him. Moving to now 14th place on the grid, somewhat surprisingly considering his dad is the owner of Aston Martin, but that is Lance Stroll, of course, in 14th place at $2 million per year only. I mean, it's pittance, really. Absolutely nothing. He's earning next to nothing. I think he should go complain to his dad, say he needs to earn some more. But yes, that is Lance Stroll and then Aston Martin on $2 million per year. 13th place, Alex Albon. He's on $3 million per year currently for the Williams team, of course. Now he's the first driver for Williams. Second driver, of course, Logan Sargent, who's earning quite a bit less than him, only $1 million a year. So Alex Albon's earning 3 times as much on $3 million per year in 13th place. 12th on the grid, Magnussen, $5 million per year, of course, beating his teammate Hülkenberg. $5 million per year for Magnussen in that Haas team. Yeah, I think it's $2 million more than Hülkenberg. I think Hülkenberg was on 3. Yeah, so Kevin Magnussen there also earning a pretty salary there for the Haas team. They're having to pay him out $5 million per year. 11th on the grid, Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly now, $5 million per year in that Alpine. Yeah, so not a bad day at the office for him, of course, moving now to the Alpine team this year for 2023. And moving on to 10th, the main man, Fernando Alonso. And I think this is where you go and see the fact that Aston Martin have definitely got themselves a steal in terms of financing. I mean, you're going to look at this. He's on only $5 million per year. That's nothing compared to these other big drivers, and yet he's competing right at the top in the 2023 season. So talk about getting bang for buck with Fernando Alonso, only in 10th position with $5 million per year. In 9th, we now have Esteban Ocon, the other Alpine driver, of course, partner to Pierre Gasly, on $6 million per year, racing for that Alpine team. So quite a little bit of an expensive bill for Alpine at about $11 million per year for 2 drivers, but nonetheless, they seem to be doing all right. In 8th place, we now have our big names, George Russell at $8 million per year. He's in 8th place. He's earning $8 million as well for the Mercedes team, and that's a picture of him in Williams, but nonetheless, it's got the Mercedes AMG on the other side. He is, of course, actually racing for Mercedes, now currently partner with Lewis Hamilton. He is the other driver, of course. In 7th place, we have Valtteri Bottas at $10 million per year. Now, whilst Valtteri Bottas, of course, has got a great history in terms of racing for Mercedes themselves, he now races for Alfa Romeo, and Alfa Romeo are not doing particularly well, and they're not a very good car, so to be paying somebody $10 million per year, 7th on the grid in total, it's quite a lot of money for them to be spending. So nonetheless, Valtteri Bottas will be happy with that paycheck, and now rocking that mullet, of course, in celebration, I think might well be. In 6th place, we have Sergio Perez of the Red Bull, $10 million per year, second driver in Red Bull, of course, that to Max Verstappen. $10 million per year is not a bad paycheck for the Mexican. And yeah, he's moved himself into 6th place on the grid for these salaries. 5th place, we now have our first Ferrari driver, Carlos Sainz, $12 million per year. He earns $12 million per year. And, you know, it's quite a big increase from that of the McLaren salary he was on previously, having moved to Ferrari 2 seasons ago now. And, yeah, I think he'll be sitting pretty with that sort of salary. It's very close to Charles Leclerc, although I say that Charles Leclerc actually does earn quite a bit more than him. We move into 4th place now. This of Lando Norris. Of course, everyone always talks up the talent of Lando Norris. $20 million per year in 4th position on this grid. And yeah, that's not exactly a bad payday at the office for Lando Norris. So yeah, he'll be quite chuffed with that. We move to 3rd. Charles Leclerc. This is now on the podium positions. $24 million per year, double his teammate Carlos Sainz earning 12, Charles Leclerc earning $24 million per year. $24 million to not finish 2 races out of 3 so far in the season. It's a lot of money per race. Eh? We move now, of course, into 2nd place, and I think you guys might know who's going to be next in this. That is Lewis Hamilton at $35 million per year he earns in that Mercedes-AMG team, and he has been earning a very high salary for a number of years now. So he must have racked in literally hundreds of millions of dollars so far in his F1 career. And yeah, heading towards that billionaire status, I'm sure. If not, he's already there. And again, sitting pretty with $35 million per year just on his salary paid out by Mercedes. And that leads us to 1st place in our driver's salary grid, as well as 1st place in the current grid in terms of points for the championship in 2023, as well as the previous winner from last season. That is Max Verstappen at $55 million per year. To put that into perspective, you can take the bottom 10 drivers, add up all their amounts, and it doesn't add up to Max Verstappen's $55 million per year. So a super, super big salary for Max Verstappen, but he is, however, delivering results. Of course, the current best driver on the grid, current driver champion as well from the 2022 season. So that is our driver salary grid, and we're going to go through it again. So number 20, Sargent. Number 19, Tsunoda. 18, Piastri. 17, Zhou. 16, De Vries. 15, Hulkenberg. 14, Stroll. 13, Albon. 12, Magnussen. 11, Gasly. 10, Alonso. 9, Ocon. 8, Russell. 7, Bottas. 6, Perez. 5, Carlos Sainz. Number 4, Lando Norris. Number 3, Charles Leclerc. Number 2, Lewis Hamilton. And number 1, Max Verstappen. So yeah, that's quite a predictable grid near the top there, but some interesting names, of course, filtering into that top 10 as well. So that was our F1 driver salary grid for 2023. And of course, if you do enjoy the content and you do enjoy watching Forever Motorsports, be sure to subscribe to the channel. This being Forever Sports, of course, most of our content does go up here. And yeah, like the video, comment any surprises you saw in the video. Were there anybody that somewhat made you think, hang on, that's a lot of money for somebody? Nonetheless, do let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Goodbye.